So with all the negative things that I've said about Dirty Bomb recently, I think that a lot of people have received the impression that I either hate the game or think that it isn't very good, which is not only far from true, but also missing the point. That's not how I feel at all. Although I wouldn't blame you for thinking that with the things that I've said. Dirty Bomb is a fantastic game, and I've taken an approach at critiquing it the wrong way. My point in being so powerfully negative was to address the issues I personally have without sugarcoating anything, because I felt like if I held back, my points would not get across. However, a lot of what I said were frustrations that I aimed at the devs, which I'm positive that they're already aware of. It created a feedback loop and I wasn't really getting anywhere. Although yes, the vocal majority of you agreed with the things I said, mostly due to us sharing the same frustrations, but I personally don't know what will help the game right now, at least not what the next step is. The ideas I have are all based around looking at the future instead of right now. For example, if Dirty Bomb receives a big marketing push for 1.0, there will be a large influx of players, but I can see those players becoming bored quickly without having much to work for, and what they do have to work for being an incredibly heavy grind unless they're willing to spend money, and let's face it, nothing is cheap in Dirty Bomb. I think we all know that. I think the biggest problem I had weren't the lack of features that I had hoped for, but instead it was the confusion surrounding the hype brought in from announcing a bigger development team and having a lot of the features we were promised being cancelled, either with our knowledge or not. The fact that it seems as though not much is happening in development right now was very discouraging, as I had left the game for a while because I had fulfilled a lot of what I wanted to do already, and for what I hadn't, I was under the impression that once I returned I would be able to. Weapon polishing as just one example, and there are a lot more that I haven't even mentioned in my previous videos because I wanted to hit what I felt like were the big problems and not just my own personal quality of life improvements in the game. But when I came back to find that there was no more casual or ranked matchmaking and all the features that I had hoped for had either been cancelled or delayed for over 7 months, yeah, I was a little upset. I didn't feel as though just I was personally let down, although maybe I did, but I also did feel like the community who were as passionate as I was were devastated, but definitely not surprised either. I don't know why I made the rants that I did. I definitely could have approached the situation a lot more maturely, but in the past my voice and ranting had been acknowledged by the staff at Dirty Bomb, and it seemed as though I was getting somewhere, and maybe I was hoping that that would happen again. Looking back though, I definitely should have handled the situation differently, and I would like to apologize for being such a dick, going against the very motto of the game itself. However, with that being said, that doesn't mean that I take back any of the passionate things that I've said, because I still feel very strongly about the points that I've made, and I don't back down from that, but I am sorry for acting like an asshole about it. The truth is that I love this game dearly, and I really want it to succeed. My biggest belief is that without a proper party system, ranked matchmaking, and a fulfilling progression, that any of the new players who come to Dirty Bomb aren't gonna want to stay for very long. And I could be very wrong about that, but I just have a feeling that this is gonna be the case. The game's self-description is very accurate. Dirty Bomb is not going to hold your hand. In fact, it's more likely to kick your teeth in. And if there isn't an easy way for players to play with their friends, they may become frustrated and leave when they get destroyed by higher skilled players and when they start complaining about explosive spam, because, I mean, there is a lot of explosions in Dirty Bomb. Obviously, a proper casual matchmaking system would solve this, and the only problem I think the previous system had was that there wasn't a large enough pool of players to choose from. The system itself was fine, it actually worked pretty great. The small player count was its only downfall, so maybe Splash Damage would be inclined to reintroduce it for 1.0 during their marketing push. And even if the balancing isn't that great at first, it will be better than anything else we have currently offered. We can't expect Faceit to fix everything, and I don't really know how Faceit works, but if it's not something that's hard built into the game, and if it doesn't feature a casual option, we need casual matchmaking as an option. But beyond the gameplay, a progression system needs to be fulfilling too, because I personally believe that players will be more inclined to play if they feel rewarded for their efforts. The current progression system doesn't really offer much feeling of fulfillment for improving your skill level, because the grind is just as long for a complete noob as it is for a seasoned veteran. I'm not saying that there is no feeling of accomplishment for increasing your skill level, because obviously there is, but the loadout and skin system are the only options of progression outside of that, and as I said, it's just not very fulfilling, at least not in my opinion. I will admit that most of the suggestions I've made are pretty stupid when you compare it to the way the game is now. New game modes and community servers without much customization being a big example of this, because the core of the game needs heavy focus more than anything. But I feel like more should have been accomplished in the game's development in the time that's passed since we were given the news that the development team has tripled. Again, I ask what exactly is being worked on currently, because as far as we know, Faceit integration, waiting on confirmation from Valve for Steam trading, and a balance pass are all that's coming in 1.0, and those don't seem like things that require a staff of over 50 people to accomplish. But then again, I'm not a game developer and I don't know what it's like to be in that situation. But here's my issue. If people were hired as part of the design team, what are those people working on? It's been confirmed that there's no new maps being worked on, and we haven't heard of any news of any new mercs. So I would just, like I said, love to know what those people are working on. To be honest, I'm half expecting there to be a lot coming with 1.0 though, because for all we know, Splash Damage is being very secretive about what they're working on. And maybe they're hoping to spoil us with a bunch of awesome stuff once it's all ready and then just being like, ta-da! Because they also know how toxic we as a community can be, and they're probably sick of hearing us bitch and complain all the time, so they'd rather keep things under wraps until it's fleshed out and ready, instead of spoiling it or announcing it too early, because they have made the mistake before of promising things in the early concepts and design stages before they could assess how long or how possible these things actually could be. And to be honest, this could be a trend that I could get behind because, well, now obviously it is very disheartening to go a long time without hearing of any progress, but if they do give us little bits of candy now and then just to keep us satisfied, and then dropping big updates on us all at once, that would be awesome. And probably so much better than telling us in advance anyway. It's also probably very disheartening for the developers themselves to discuss and come up with rad new ideas, only for them to be shot down early by the community on social media, or to be bombarded with negative comments about previous content while they're trying to work on something new. Especially while getting super hyped themselves about something that they're working on, only to reach a snag in the middle of development and then having to tell us that it's either being cancelled or moved aside to work on something of higher priority. And I know that I wouldn't want to be working on a game with a community as negative as we can be, and especially with people like me who have a bigger voice and misuse it misguidedly. I think that we've severely misjudged the Dirty Bomb staff, and I think we owe it to them to remember that they're human just like us and love the game just as much as we do. Perhaps even more considering they're even still working on the game, so I ask you to think about that, and we wouldn't even have Dirty Bomb if it weren't for them. And yes, I realize how hypocritical this is for me to be saying, but we all have time to learn from our own experiences and self-reflect. So if you can take anything away from this video, let it be that I love this game. I do want it to succeed, and I'm sorry for being such an asshole. I will be more careful with how I handle these situations in the future, and I hope I have the time to prove that. I also hope the best for 1.0, and I can't wait to see its release, so let's hope everything goes as smooth as possible for everyone over at the Dirty Bomb team, and that 1.0 can get to us as fast as possible. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, as always, take care, everyone. I said take care. Why you no take care?